What is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and today we are back in Spin Tires for part 2 of our logging adventure on the map Trials and Tribulations. Now, this section, to put it mildly, there's a lot of pulling forward and turning, pulling forward and backing up, and pulling forward and backing up, and then realizing that that wasn't going to work. And then turning around, going back down the hill, turning back around, and coming back up the hill, realizing that that was what I had to do. But I'm honestly really glad that I realized that that was what I had to do, instead of being stubborn and going over the or trying to go over the bridge and flipping the trailer off of the bridge. Because that would have really sucked. That would have really sucked. But without any of that stuff being an issue, basically, what you gotta realize is if you get this trailer anywhere off target, especially considering the fact that this truck is such a long wheelbase and you have that super long trailer, your best bet and your by far the safest bet is to turn around. And also, if you turn around and come back, technically you're actually gonna save time, because you're gonna spend less time turning around, going down the hill, turning around and coming back up, than you are trying to fidget with the trailer to try to get it to point the way you want it to. And I almost got it right here. I almost got it, but it also looked like it was going to tip over, and I just didn't want to risk it. I was like right at the edge of it tipping over, and it could have gone one of two ways. It could have gone, like, the wheel could have just picked up onto the edge of the bridge and just come right across, or it could have just fallen right over the edge and been done. So with all of that being said, there's a couple of different things that this truck, I think, I don't know, there's a couple of different things that I feel like this truck could be, I don't know, a couple things that could be improved on about it, but they're so freaking tiny, it's not even funny. I mean, this truck is one of the most near perfect, hauling mods that you can get in Spin Tires right now, and really, one of the only little things I have about it is that at max flex, the tire clips into the fender a little bit. But that's so freaking nitpicky that I don't know what else to talk about. When a truck is that good that you don't know what else to talk about other than the fact that the tire clips just a tiny little bit into the fender at maximum flex, you know it's a freaking amazing truck. You really do. You know it's an amazing truck when that's the only thing you have to nitpick about, because when that's the only thing you have to nitpick about, the rest of the truck is so freaking good. Now, there's, I think, a couple of other things that I wanted to mention about this map is that if you didn't follow the link in the video, or the last video to download it, it's really actually a very easy map to download. And I'm also going to be doing a video next week on, well, either next week or maybe a little bit sooner than that. We'll see. But it'll be on the JSGME, which is the basically generic mod enabler, and what that does is basically prevents your Spin Tires from having all sorts of crashing issues when you try to when you install a ton of mods. And I used it back in the tech demo, and I stopped using it in the main release game. And that was a mistake, because I started having a bunch of issues with the game's performance. And as you can see now, the game runs great. The game runs amazing. And that's mostly due to the fact that the JSGME allows me to only select the mods that I want to run. And the game is technically only running one mod while I'm running it. So it puts a lot less strain on the game, and the game has a lot less crashing issues. But this is when I decided that going down the hill and turning around was by far the better option, as opposed to trying to keep fidgeting with the trailer and actually turn it around. I feel like if there was a tree that I could have winched the trailer up to, that would have probably saved it, and we would have probably been able to just cross the bridge just fine. But coming down and turning around ended up being a much better option, and as you'll see, I was able to just throw the truck in high gear and just fly back up the hill in just about no time at all, I would say. Just about no time at all in terms of I guess, semi-truck speeds, especially off-road semi-truck speeds. I mean, logging trucks, usually pretty dang slow. This one is actually, it's kind of funny, because even in high range, you just point it at the freaking hill, and it climbs it with no complaints, no issues, no, like, it doesn't backtalk about it, it doesn't spin its tires. It actually uses all of this weight to its advantage and just puts down all of its grip and digs in and goes and doesn't leave anything behind. Like, it just pulls whatever you ask it to. I mean, again, remember, we're fully loaded down with lumber. Now, this I did not expect right here. There's a massive hole, and it actually caused the trailer to disconnect from the truck, and I was getting really, really, really worried here because I didn't want the trailer to tip over. But thankfully, the trailer ended up in an okay spot, and really all I had to do was reposition the truck in such a way that I could hook the trailer back up to it. And there are a couple of other areas on this particular section of road that I safety winched the trailer, and I did that specifically because I didn't want to have to mess with the trailer going over the edge. However, there's also something that happens a little bit later on that I'm not going to tell you guys. I'm not going to spoil it, but because I want you guys to watch till the end. But I'm not going to spoil what happens later. But yeah, keep watching. You guys will. Yeah, well, the ending is interesting. I'll just put it at that, or leave it at that. But this part of the trail was probably the most difficult part so far in terms of log hauling. Now, there are other areas that I did not go to with the log truck that are even more difficult than this, and you'll see those in the Jeep episode where we go and really explore everything. But some of the trails that I explored in the Jeep are like, holy crap, they expect you to take a log truck up here? Are they insane? And that's where this map gets a lot of its praise from me, is in the detail in terms of the difficulty, right? It's actually a really, really difficult map if you think about it. It's a really difficult map, really tricky, and when you start to get into it and when you start to figure out some of the different aspects of where they expect you to take logging trucks, you're like, dear God, I need a beastly logging truck to do this. And really, right now, this is the only logging truck I would want to drive on this map. Like, all the other logging trucks, I feel like would have tons of issues. This is the only one that is, I think, tough enough and grippy enough and powerful enough and most importantly has enough suspension travel to take on the consistent challenges that this map puts forward. I mean, it really just keeps throwing challenges at you left and right and left and right and left and right and boom, 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 boom. And honestly, you got to think about how much stuff is going on here at the same time when you're dealing with a vehicle as long as this. And you consider a long wheelbase 4-axle tractor with a, I would say, what is that, mid 40 foot log trailer. I think I would guess just mid 40s, like maybe a 45 ish, I don't know, mid 40 footer trailer. And they're expecting you to take it down roads like this, which this is pretty much a death road, by the way. This is a death road section, and I almost flipped the trailer here, and I freaked out because I did not want to mess with it, and I couldn't find any winch points, and so I was just like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to drive forward and just try to be chill about it, and it actually ended up working, so I was like, thank God. Thank God for that. It just absolutely, like, I was terrified for a second. That was moderately terrifying, having the trailer right up to the edge like that and have it just about to just tip over the edge, just that little last bit and gone. Or at least I was hoping it wouldn't be gone. But right about here is where I decided it would be a good idea to safety winch, because honestly, there are some areas on maps like this, where you're dealing with, like, death road scenarios where you're like, yeah, I need to safety winch, and there's no shame in it. There's absolutely no shame in safety winching your trailer, because sometimes that's all that stands between you and your entire load of lumber going over the edge. So you can see right here, it keeps the trailer perfectly steady and level, and just allows me to just kind of cruise right through, no issues at all, and just keep on going. Now, a little bit later on here, it does start to get even bumpier, and the crazy part is this isn't even the most rutted up section on the map. There's even more rutted up sections, even more hilly sections in other areas of this map, and it's absolutely taking a truck like this through here. Like I said, it can be pretty scary depending on what you're carrying, especially if you're carrying lumber, though, because there's a good chance that if you tip it over, that can be it for your hauling mission, and you have to start all over. But speaking of that, you'll see in just a second what not to do. And it was completely unexpected, because I tried to position the truck exactly where it needed to be, and I didn't really plan for one of the dips coming up. and I was just going along. I was like, you know what? The objective's right up there. We can cruise along, probably stick it in high, you know, it'll be just fine, you know? And because it didn't look all that bumpy on the map, right? It didn't look all that bumpy at all on the map. But the problem is, I kind of got a little bit, you know, a little bit cocky and was like, okay, we can just kind of run through here in high, no problem. This section said, and the trailer ended up slipping off the back of the truck, turning over, and dropping the entire load of lumber. So unfortunately, we were almost to the objective, but not quite there. So we will come back to this map and revisit it, and we will also try out the other logging routes to see what they're like. But if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave me a like. Tell me in the comments down below what you guys thought of it. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more. Remember, the Jeep episode is next. We'll see you guys there. Talk to y'all next time.